At a time where the line between personal and professional lives are increasingly blurred, finding success and a work-life balance can be a challenge. In this Mission Driven, we're talking with co-founder and CEO Alexi Robichaud of BetterUp, a company that pioneered the world of professional coaching. With a model that combines hard data and a hyper-personalized approach, BetterUp helps their users achieve not just a better approach to their career, but a better approach to their own mental health and happiness. Tell us a little bit about BetterUp.
BetterUp is a mobile platform for personal growth and professional development that connects workers with everything from dedicated one-on-one coaching to mentorship to counseling. And we do this in an evidence-based way where you can video chat, text message, and even have digital learning exercises to follow up and reinforce skills related to your life. Things like sleep and nutrition, to peak performance in the workplace, to even something like difficult conversations with your manager or with a direct report.
Can you talk about what it means to you to make such an impact in so many people's lives through the power of coaching?
I often say we're incredibly fortunate to get to do the work we do each and every day. In fact, my co-founder, Eddie, and I really became friends by volunteering after work to do an after-school program where we were coaching high school students. And so to be fortunate enough to do this now in a way where we're not only doing this at a big global scale, but we're able to have a more measurable impact, and we're able to employ thousands of coaches across the world so that they're not only using their talents and skills to help other people, but they're actually also earning a great living, is super fulfilling.
What makes BetterUp a purpose-driven company to you?
Well, I think one thing that's special to BetterUp is that deeply woven into the DNA of all our product experiences and services we offer is that we know people are happier, people are more fulfilled, and they perform better when they have a strong sense of purpose. Quite literally, our business is helping people uncover purpose. We can help people throughout the world live a more conscious and more centered and a more purposeful life. That we know that we've made a really positive contribution to the human experience.
What did you find lacking in the coaching world that made you actually want to create BetterUp?
There were three things that really inspired the creation of BetterUp. One thing we found is coaching was extremely transformational if you had the right coach. Who's the right person to give me support? Who's going to help me hone and develop my skills and my performance? And so I'd say the first thing we saw is very mixed quality in the world of coaching and in the world of a lot of things related to behavioral science and these interventions. The second thing was actually related to cost and affordability. For the most part, coaching had been really consolidated in the senior ranks. And part of that is the economics. The world's best coaches cost thousands, if not closer to tens of thousands of dollars an hour. We knew we had to change the economics and make it more affordable. And then the third thing was really related to access. Similar to therapy, coaching inherited this paradigm of you go once a week for 50 minutes, you'd have a great, inspiring, motivating conversation with the coach. And then I'd go back to my normal life and I usually would just forget everything that was said in that session. And so I wanted to design something where it was more woven into daily life and it wasn't episodic. It wasn't something I went to. It was actually something that went to me.
So then how did you take those opportunities and find a way to actually incorporate them into BetterUp's method?
We quickly were inspired by this idea of, hey, let's take what is a traditional coaching experience and try to digitize that and put that on the phone. Let's add more science and research into that so it's repeatable. And even as a user of it, as a coachee, I wanted beyond emotional highs, I wanted to know that I was improving in measurable ways and I didn't just feel better. One thing that did is it unlocked the opportunity related to measurement and the technology related to the science and how we could operationalize decades of scientific research from neuroscience, IO psychology, management science, sports psychology. And so when we finally came back to our core idea, which was put a coach on a phone in the pockets of people worldwide, we actually had developed a lot of competencies related to measurement, assessment, and the science. And so those two then married together to become what was BetterUp, which as its core is basically three ingredients. You have a human expert who's trained in these evidence-based approaches, deeply empathetic, but also skilled at helping elicit the best from you. You have technology that provides a delightful consumer-grade experience, similar to any popular app that's really engaging and powerful. And then you have the science running in the background that's measuring to make sure that we're providing unparalleled quality, but also to show you how you're improving and growing over long periods of time.
So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask,
You recently added Prince Harry to the team as your Chief Impact Officer. What do you think drew him to your company, and what role is he going to play at BetterUp?
The opportunity to partner with Prince Harry really came out of his enthusiasm and interest in what we were doing. He has long been an advocate for mental health and greater awareness around mental health, but a particular vein and the same worldview we share, that mental health is an entire spectrum, and we shouldn't think of mental health as merely the removal of mental illness. In fact, we may need a better term, whether you want to say peak performance, whether you want to say mental fitness, whether you want to say flourishing or thriving. There's this whole side of the spectrum of how do you help people who are high functioning continue to double down, cultivate resilience, invest in strengths, and become the best version of themselves. And so we really had a ton of shared passion and enthusiasm around the opportunity to do that, and was very excited that there was a company bridling capitalism creatively and consciously to try to do this at greater impact and scale globally. And then it was figuring out how he could get involved. It's about changing this global dialogue so that we all realize that mental health is this journey, and wherever you are, there's a way to invest in yourself. And that should be normalized. That should be celebrated. In fact, for many of us in our life, that is our real job to do, right? Is to invest in our own growth and development. How do we impact? How do we scale? How do we change that conversation? And so we landed on this role as Chief Impact Officer.
Mission Driven is all about impact, and I can't think of a better company than BetterUp in terms of pushing that forward and really helping to democratize coaching for everyone. And we look forward to seeing you guys continue to grow and expand and democratize coaching for all.
Josh, truly my pleasure. Hopefully get more folks enlisted in trying to do this globally with us.